I think Dorit is
Yeah.
just like, I think she doesn't care. Like Kyle at least has been around the block for so many years and she does try to not, like, I think Dorit is going to see this inauthentically. I don't think she loves Erika, but I think Dorit's going to see this now as her self-produced moment of like, I need to come back and be the warrior for the people and watch. That's what's going to happen.
I think you could be spot on with that.
Like, I
Yeah.
am Dorit and like, let me make my story this season. And I mean,
I'm going to stand up against this woman who, doesn't care about the victims. And I said enough last year to where it's not so far out in left field that I would stand up to her. And because she did, there were a couple of times when Dorit said, what about the victims? And what about this? And then Crystal on the sofa said, well, it was just maybe part of like what we hadn't seen, where she said, but don't you feel sorry for the victims or aren't you angry? And then she said, is this angry enough for you? Remember that? Did you see that?
yeah.
No, something. I think
Yeah.
that some of them are going to be like, okay, listen, we've had enough of this,
Yeah. I just think it can't be the same thing next season. It can't be just this
Yeah.
story. It has to be like, I'm telling you,
Right.
I've read
Oh,
it's gonna be Kyle and Erika. And yes, there'll be people around each of it, but it's gonna just be like Erika is done with Kyle and Kyle's gonna have to respond.
really? Like, you think it's already decided? Like, that's the way it's going to go down next season?
I've read something where it's like they want this to start now that Erika's pissed at Kyle. And it's just, I think, like the typical, like, Kyle is like the Teresa in the sense that she's the OG, like she's been there. I mean, when have we really, like, picture it? Like LVP and Kyle was one thing, but if Erika's not backing down from people, I mean, what, she's going to get right up in Kyle's face? That's going to be relatively interesting to watch. I'm not sure. Can Kyle handle
Where
herself?
where where will Rinna go with this? Knowing that the audience is turned on Erika.
Rinna needs
Rinna,
some arc. She might start to be like, I was wrong. I mean, I think Rinna's at home figuring this out right now, honestly.
she may be dialing Sutton. She may be like, Sutton, I'm your Huckleberry.
Rinna has done these switches every year. And so I just think, yeah, I mean, the audience is
Rinna's gonna tell
turned.
Rinna's gonna tell Erika to own it.
She might go to Garcelle and she might see Garcelle as her like way in or something. I don't know, but I bet you Rinna is gonna turn on
Turn
her.
on Erika.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But then again,
Maybe.
I mean, can you have a show with everybody versus Erika? I mean, is that a show? I don't know.
I don't, but maybe they'll tell it Rinna, like, listen, Rinna, we'll make you look good, but you cannot abandon Erika because we have to have some balance.
That's what might happen.
Oh,
It was
then
why?
then I don't know that Rinna can come back from that. 2 bad seasons of everyone hating her. They may both go then.
People are done. I mean, I even saw something online. I forgot where it was, but they're like, with all the disagreement between how, like, who's team this and they're like, isn't it funny how like hating Rinna is the one thing that people are aligned on these days? It was something like that, of like, it was a thread. It wasn't, it wasn't just, but that was the argument. And it was a million comments of like, and I don't think it's just because of Erika. I think it's just overall, like, you're a shit stirrer. And listen, not for nothing, because Crystal said something on my podcast about LVP. She answered a question and that's now gotten blown. Like, do you remember on the end, I said to her, like, who would you want back from the past? I said this.
Yeah.
And I don't know for sure, but she said something like, I said, like, I hear some examples, like, if you can't think, and everyone could think off the top of your head. And when I said Lisa, she was like, well, not LVP. And then she said, because like, I don't know her at all, but like the girls don't seem to like her, that was it, which I understand that statement. I don't know her, but like, I guess not her because the girls don't like her. Oh yeah, I'd probably have like Eileen or Yolanda because they seem to have the same demeanor as me. Totally. That makes everything you just said makes complete sense to me. Of course, now it's in all these blogs that Crystal Kong does not want LVP back, does not want LVP on. So now that is a huge source of hate now towards Crystal, that LVP has her minions, baby.
Oh, totally. She put a target on her back with that.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, what do I mean? On my own page, I could respond, but I'm not, but so there's a lot of people that are like, why does she hate all these? I'm like, I mean, it's not my job to explain all this to you. Like, you should listen to the podcast. But it wasn't, she said nothing against, you could hear it. Like, I asked her a question and she mentioned LVP because I did. Obviously, she's one of the examples I used. And she was like, well, not her. Like, I don't know her, but the girls don't seem to like that one. It was funny. It was like, of course, well, that makes sense. Of course, I'm sure they talk about her to you that they don't like her. And now the headline is like, Crystal doesn't want Lisa Vanderpump on to come back.
Oh gosh. You know what? It would be so interesting. It would be like Vanderpump 2.0 because she'd come back to really even the score. But I think she would be, because she's a very smart, calculated person with that kind of stuff. She'd come back with, I think I don't want to say humility in the sense that like she did something wrong, but knowing, you come back into the circle of women, and she'd have to have her tail a hair tucked just because you come back to the party after you stormed out, right? And that's the quickest way to get the audience back on your side. Don't come in tooting your horn. Come in like, I'm, just looking for, friendship again.
Can't see her sitting in a scene with Kyle. I could see her and Rinna before I could see her and Kyle in a scene together. I can't picture this.
Dave, they'll have like some, before the season starts, they'll film the two of them sitting down and somebody said something and they'll call a truce of a lunch. Something will have happened where we need to talk, and, they'll sit down and that'll be the start.
Listen, money talks. So, they'll say to Kyle, like, here's our cast and you have to go film this scene. Sorry. And Kyle will not want to do it, but she'll do it.
No, I could see Kyle. Kyle's smart. Kyle would be like, Vanderpump would be great for the show, for her to come back.
Right. You're right. And if any part of her does miss Lisa, any part, it would be like, you're basically handing this to me on a silver platter. Like, you're basically possibly going to salvage some aspect of this friendship so it's not awkward when we run into each other. Yeah. They would all be smart to just be like, this is the greatest thing in the world. Even like a Dorit or Rinna, you should just like, this is going to be huge.
Yeah. Let it happen. I think so.
I think it's going to happen. I don't know where you go after Erika when this is all over. I don't know what happens